of Senator Patton's Senate Bill 213, and this bill is to license traffic law photo monitoring device companies and levy attacks. Senator Patton, welcome to committee, and you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Rogner, Vice Chair Gavarone, Ranking Member Waxter, and members of the committee. I thank you for this opportunity to allow me to testify on sponsored testimony for Senate Bill 213, which would create a licensure for traffic camera dealers who wish to operate and issue tickets, speeding tickets in Ohio. I often ask people, do you know how many traffic cameras we have in Ohio? The answer is no, and I said nobody knows. And we really don't have any idea how many cameras are out there. Past General Assemblies have seen similar governing speed cameras, the bills that will govern that, but Senate Bill 213 is unique in that it specifically addresses the traffic camera dealers who currently operate traffic cameras in Ohio. Currently, the Ohio Revised Code contains laws governing traffic enforcement, but no laws governing the camera manufacturers currently operating as for-profit businesses. We have no idea, as I mentioned a moment ago, how many traffic cameras are in Ohio. Of those, we were able to identify the companies that operate these cameras are headquartered in Arizona, Georgia, Tennessee, Sweden, Germany, and the largest one is in Australia. According to the reports by the Ohio Department of Taxation, which is, they're vague about how accurate this could be, they think they've understated it, they believe that these traffic cameras have collected $67.6 million. We've learned from the city leadership that these traffic cameras that themselves are currently receiving an average of 40% of the gross receipts. So 40%, $67 million leaving the state of Ohio is an awful lot of money, no matter how you look at it. This means that the out-of-state traffic cameras have taken nearly $30 million from Ohio motorists. This number continues to climb each year. These cameras are allowed to operate with virtually zero oversight. This bill creates a licensure for traffic camera dealers with a per-camera fee of $100,000 paid to the Department of Commerce. This bill also requires monthly calibration of these cameras by the Ohio Department of Public Safety to ensure they can accurately report a driver's speed. This comes at a $5,000 a month cost per camera. The State Highway Patrol calibrates their equipment at the beginning of every shift. So we think that the monthly calibration is a generous policy for these camera dealers. Finally, this bill assesses an 8% fee on the revenues, and that money will then be directed to the Post-Traumatic Stress Fund that was created in House Bill 308 in the 133rd General Assembly. That's the PTSD fund for our first responders, which was voted in, but now we're looking for a funding mechanism for that particular program. Opponents of this bill suggest that speed cameras improve safety when there is no compelling evidence to support this. In fact, a handful of municipalities operating these cameras across the state rely on speeding violation, make no attempt to intervene. Simply stationing a police officer in a cruiser would be a virtual and visual deterrent to speeding and would allow the officers to intervene by pulling over speeding drivers and issuing tickets. Issuing tickets weeks after the violation, and generally speaking, they usually come about a month later, at least, it provides no opportunity to interview the speeding driver's behavior. This is nothing more than a revenue generator for a handful of municipalities and foreign companies at the expense of thousands of Ohio drivers. We are attempting to reroute some of this revenue back to Ohio. If these traffic camera companies are helping to enforce state laws, we simply ask that they're held to the same standards as licensed professionals. This past May, the members of this committee joined with the rest of the Senate and House to unanimously pass Senate Bill 114 to prohibit law enforcement ticket and arrest quotas because we believe law enforcement should never be used as a tool for generating revenue. If we truly believe that, we certainly don't want that revenue going out of the country to provide companies to private companies without some degree of oversight. I will conclude that Ohio publicly does not approve of traffic cameras. In every city that has gone up for a vote, example being Columbus and Cleveland, the voters have turned away speed cameras. Even though the cameras were installed, the voters said we don't want them, take them out. It's the will of the people of Ohio, folks. I really believe that. So thanks again, Chair Rogner and members of this committee for this opportunity to testify before you today. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right. Thank you, Senator Patton, for your testimony. Are there any questions? Senator Mora.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Patton, I have a quick question. You want Department of Public Safety to calibrate these things every month. Is that even feasible? Do they have the manpower, the equipment, the time to, if you say there's thousands of cameras, we don't know how many there are, do they have enough time to actually do this under the bill?
Through the chairwoman, and to Senator DeMora, at $5,000 a month per camera, if we don't have enough people, we have enough resources to go out and hire the people to do that. But at the same token, as it is now, the citizens of Ohio are being ticketed on equipment that has not been calibrated at all. So at least to our knowledge, nobody's advertising that they are. So we think, since the Highway Patrol does it daily, we think once a month is so bad. And then they're going to pay for it to cover that cost. That's why they're paying that $5,000 fee. But I appreciate the question.
Follow-up?
Another question would be, are the local municipalities going to get any of the fee that they have to register for or any of that? I mean, for instance, is it not okay? I mean, we're charging them $100,000 a year per camera, but do the municipalities that want to actually have this stuff, do they get any percentage of that money, or is this just something that the state government is putting on these companies, and that municipalities that actually want these things don't get any financial benefit from them?
Madam Chair, and to the Senator, the local municipalities are already getting 60% for doing nothing. So with the opportunity that we're going to issue a $100,000 license to the company, and again, either out of state or in most cases out of the country, there is no money going directly to the cities. Again, what we're trying to do is encourage good actors. You know, it's kind of like if you're a small municipality and you're close to an interstate, it's like you suddenly realize you have a rich dying uncle. Because of the fact you can plant there. We have Newburgh Heights up in Cleveland, 2,700 residents, and I think last December they issued 90,000 unpaid tickets that they send out a dunning letter to those people. So I can only imagine how many people got a ticket there and paid in the town of 2,700 people. So I think the cities in their 60% cut are doing okay now. We just want to be able to try to get a better handle on what's happening in the state.
Are there any additional questions? Senator Timken.
Thank you, Chair Wagner. Just out of curiosity, do you have any idea how many municipalities are using these traffic cameras now? Or is it, we have no way of knowing, as you testified to?
Madam Chair, that's exactly right. We have no clue. They pop up. Matter of fact, we have a mayor of one of those towns I've alluded to already, who actually is now acting as an agent. He went out by Blossom, that little music center is a little town out there. So he's actually working as an agent. He brought that same company that he's using in, and now he's helping to set up something out there in the very wooded areas of Peninsula, wherever it is. And again, it's just become a cottage industry, out of control.
Very good. Senator Huffman.
You're addressing speed cameras. Do you do anything with red light cameras?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Madam
Senator.
Chair. No, sir.
It's all right. Senator Gavarone.
Thank you. I remember a few General Assemblies ago taking away local government funds when red light cameras. Did that not include speed cameras as well?
To the chair and to Vice Chair Gavarone, that was an effort done by the eminent Bill Seitz. And when you take a look at the little burbs that are getting maybe $20,000 in state and local government funds as compared to getting $3 or $4 million from the camera funds, they learned to live without the state and local government funds. That was not as effective as we kind of, at least at the time, the Honorable Mr. Seitz thought it would be, because the cities will just eschew, you know, the pittance compared to what they'll get from the camera companies.
Follow-up?
Yeah.
But wouldn't we know where they are? Where these cameras are?
Madam Chair, to Vice Chair Gavarone, you would think that would be the case, but you're talking about villages that doesn't necessarily qualify or for local government funds. And when we asked taxation, can you give us a clue? The taxation said we can only give you an estimate. We don't really know. And so I don't know how readily, as I said, to get local government funds, I would think you have to apply for them. And if you know that you're already getting much more revenue in your ticket speed camera revenue funds, you wouldn't bother to ask for them. That is not proved to be anywhere near the impediment we hoped it was going to be when we passed that a couple of General Assemblies ago.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I have a question. So if we're imposing the fees and the inspection fees, and could those municipalities that are using these cameras, then could they pass that increased cost on to the folks that are making the violations? I mean, would the tickets become much more expensive? Do they have the leeway to do that?
Madam Chair, actually what we've seen is that when the tickets first were coming out, they were coming out at $150 a ticket on average.
Yeah.
And now they're up to $200, $225. And a lot of them will say, depending on speed, you know, if it's so many miles above the speed limit, they could go up to $275. So there's no limit. It's up to the cities and the companies that they're employing to determine what it is. So if when you say, can they pass it along, I guess my answer would be that if they could do it now. They're raising the rates, you know, as it is now. It's been historically, nobody is charging the rates that they normally did. They all seem to be going north.
Yeah, so that's I guess my one concern is that there would be an unintended consequence of, instead of trying to help the motorists, it would make it actually even more burdensome if those tickets then go to $350 a piece or more. So but I appreciate I do appreciate the legislation, and I know exactly what you're trying to do. I think it's very noble.
You know, Madam Chair, I appreciate, it's not a question of being noble. Sometimes we get sent down here to do the stuff that the people want us to do.
Yeah.
And when we know that there's never been an opportunity for a speed camera to go on the ballot and be passed, they've all been rejected by the voters of Ohio.
Right.
So we know that our voters, our constituents, don't like these, because if they get pulled over and get a ticket, shame on me, I was speeding, give me my ticket, I'll pay it. If I get something in the mail a month later, that my car, you know, I could have loaned it to the neighbor, I could have loaned it to my nephew, you know, he was speeding, but now I got the ticket, which, again, be careful who you loan your car to. But as I say, when you talk about 40% of an awful lot of money every single year leaving the state of Ohio, and the people that are embracing this and taking advantage are usually these little burbs that are, as I mentioned, a town of 2,700. I don't know how many tickets they wrote, but I know that 90,000 of the tickets were not paid in a year. So if you factor that maybe 3 times as many did pay and only 25% didn't pay, that's an awful lot of tickets for a town of 2,700, and that's happening all over the state. So at minimum, let's go back to what the money's going to go for when we do all these machinations. You know, police and fire, this goes back to the bill that we did some years ago, where we recognize that PTSD is prevalent among our first responders. Many by a factor of 8. 8 times as many police and firemen will commit suicide than die in the line of duty. I'm going to say that slowly. 8 times as many police and firemen will commit suicide than die tragically in the line of duty. We always mourn the death of those officers in the line of duty, those firefighters in the line of duty. But let's think for a moment. You know, why is it that police and fire lead the country or near the top in divorce and things like that? Alcoholism. It's a very difficult job. So the average person will see 1 to 3 traumatic things in their lifetime. A first responder sees an average of 7 a month. So they're going to see stuff that's going to... So all we're looking for here in Ohio is to make sure that when they want to get some treatment for that, we can pay for that treatment. We voted to do that. We just have to fund it. And if somebody has a better idea to fund it than what we're doing now, going after these out-of-country Redflix in Australia, taking millions out of Ohio every month, let's let them help our first responders. So, folks, this is a first responder help bill. Let's hope that you guys can see it from that light.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you for your
Thank you, Chairwoman.
testimony, and this will conclude the first hearing of Senate Bill 213.